next question is, what needs to change, either culturally, structurally, or in terms of systems for a true OD-MD collaboration to become the standard and not the exception of how we practice?
Right. I think I can only, again, speak from my area. In Florida, I think we're so behind in the optometry ophthalmology synergistic relationship. It's, of course, it's a huge passion of mine. It's a huge dream of mine for us to be co-mingling, co-networking, and having that synergistic relationship where other MDs have, where everybody's managing that patient as a whole team. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I just think that what happens is that there's so many bumps in the road stopping us from it. And so what I would say is the most important thing is making sure it's, like you said, it has to be easy for the doctor. So making sure that they have a referral portal or a referral coordinator. I love one place because the referral coordinator literally sends me an email every single time a patient doesn't come and doesn't schedule. She calls me and asks me if I would like to co-manage with the patient or not. She sends me patients. So all these are factors in a good relationship. They've
Right.
actually I've actually helped them staff employees before. If I get a good candidate and I don't have a position, vice versa. That's a synergistic relationship. That's what we want.
Yes.
They have other optometrists working there, which I have no problem referring to an optometrist, which is very important. And you're talking about changing culture. Well, Diana, I worked with an ophthalmologist for 2 years. I made my little marketing folders, and people had a really hard time referring to me the pediatric patients, even though they felt more comfortable referring to an ophthalmologist that maybe wasn't a pediatric specialist.
Mhm.
So and I've seen it also with scleral lenses and contact lenses, they're more likely to send it to an ophthalmology practice. Again, I'm not saying it's everyone, but
Right.
I feel like as optometrists, we need to empower each other and say, you know what, I might not be a dry eye girl. I might not love an IPL machine, but that's okay because I'm gonna send to the optometrist that is, or I'm gonna send to my vision therapist optometrist in the area that is amazing.
Right.
So the first thing like is empower each other and refer first within our profession. Now, if we're limited, build the right relationship with the ophthalmologist that has the time, that truly cares about your patient, and it's going to do right by your patient ethically, and that has a referral coordinator that, and it's going to allow you to co-manage. I have a lot of little things,
No,
but
and you're right, because the culture needs to change as well, right? Because the truth is, not all ophthalmologists and optometrists want to work together, right? Or they
oh,
feel
mm,
maybe like they're competing. And that is not helpful for the patient, right? Because we should collaborate in a
right.
way like you just explained. Absolutely. I
I
agree.
I will tell you that I think that one of the biggest optometry mistakes is that you go to an event, you meet ophthalmologists that seem fairly nice, but they didn't do the legwork. You didn't go in, you didn't see their practice. You didn't see the report when they saw your patient. And what happens is that you think there's a relationship there, but it's a one-way
Mm,
relationship. So the other thing too is if you know that this is a great ophthalmologist to work with, have them send you a patient. Think of how many patients find that ophthalmologist on Google, went to them because they thought it's an ophthalmologist, but maybe it's not even a
right,
medical case at that point.
right,
Maybe the person
right,
just needs contacts or glasses.
right.
Well, put your business cards there. If they keep your business cards right there in front of the counter and they send you a patient and their referral coordinator says, hey, by the way, we're sending you a patient, that's the practice you want to work with because that's going to make sure that that patient gets a full eye care and needs serviced by those two teams. But Diana, that is super rare to find.
Yes.
I mean, do you
Um,
have one in your area? I mean, I'm just
So,
curious.
well, what you're saying is so true, because well, we've been in practice 21 years. When we first started, there really were not a lot of optometrists in our area other than, the big corporate. And when we started creating relationship with ophthalmologists, one of the ophthalmologists actually said, we get here, people come in here every day and they just want an eye exam for glasses, and we don't
Yep,
do that. So this is great, we're going to send them over to you when all they want is an eye exam and glasses. And
right.
then and that was beautiful. I mean, that ophthalmologist retired.
You're like,
But
I wish he was back.
right, but this leads me to the next question,
Question?
which is kind of a segue. You kind of already answered it, right? But If you could give one piece of advice to an optometrist, to a fellow colleague who wants to build a stronger referral relationship with an ophthalmologist, what would it be?
Like I said, make sure you have a system in place that you could track your referrals from start to finish, that they have a referral coordinator or someone that's really going to care about getting your patient in that you can communicate with quickly over the phone, and someone that's really going to send patients to you so that you could have the full complete care. I think that that's the dream model. Um, I know, of course, like I said, EMRs have their limitations.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know if you have this issue, but my EMR, just to send a note to a PCP, it gets very complicated. I feel like it should just be a button that says email, and that's it at the end of the patient's chart. But
Right. And you would think after so many years that our practice management system would be able to integrate with theirs. And I know that it's complicated because as private practices, we have like the retail side, right? So we need our POS system and we also need our electronic medical records. And maybe because of that, we can't integrate what they're using. But you would think that after all these years, we would be able to make this process as seamless and as simple as possible to be able to create this system and be able to refer our patients, co-manage
mhm.
and all of that.
I think that also going back to changing culture, I think that either optometrists are just, I'm generalizing. I'm not saying everyone, but I think it's just they don't realize the impact it has on the profession. And so it's just so easy to just refer the patient out without having a tracking mechanism that's going to make sure that that patient does that full loop back. And that's one of the things I would love to change is where I wish there was a way I could show people like this is how many patients you referred back. How many came back to you and said, hey, we had the surgery, it was great. Or you were able to co-manage with them, or now they're due for their glasses because they had cataract surgery. No, what happens is because we're not tracking them, they end up leaving and then they don't come back a lot of times. Where do they go? I don't know. You would have to track. And one of the interesting things is the insurance. And I want to say, I can't remember if Medicare require. I know IMED requires it, but there's some insurance plans that require a referral log. And when I went to a conference, they recommended you keeping track of all your referrals because just because you give them a business card or referral doesn't mean you're done. I think sometimes we could do a better job on that.
So could it be as simple as creating maybe a Google Doc and have someone in your office dedicated to do that, tracking? Like, do you find that to be helpful or what are the cons of that?
So one of the hardest things is a lot of platforms that are free are not HIPAA compliant.
Ah,
And that's one of the limiting. Just say a text message is very fast, right? We can send a text message or WhatsApp, but then what happens is it's not secure. Sending an email, the same thing. Just because I'm sending an email to a secure place, my email has to be secure. Both emails have to be secure. So the rules that we have and the patient privacy is a big part of that. And I think that optometrists have gotten a little comfortable doing those things. And I think we have to be better about securing patient data and information.
yeah, that's something definitely to think about.